Welcome to Miss Retro Reads. Happy Sunday. I'd like to start out this reading with a quote by Fulton Sheen. The humble, simple souls who are little enough to see the bigness of God in the littleness of a babe are therefore the only ones who will ever understand the reason of his visitation. He came to this poor earth of ours to carry on an exchange, to say to us, as only the good God could say, "You give me your humanity, and I will give you my divinity. You give me your time, and I will give you my eternity. You give me your broken heart, and I will give you love. You give me your nothingness, and I will give you my all." I read this quote a long time ago, and I have repeated to myself often, "Give me your time, and I will give you my eternity." It's a beautiful thing to think of. So often in life, we're giving our time to things that don't really matter much, just fleeting joys. A lot of the time we give goes to our employers or to work if we are self-employed, and we work for money, which is a good thing to do. But sometimes we might go a little too far. We might have too many things that we don't need, things that maybe we could help somebody that's less fortunate than ourselves. So I'm going to read a few things by St. Alphonsus Liguori on poverty. This is taken from The True Spouse of Jesus Christ, but there are many things in here that apply to both religious and to secular. All the views of the world are opposed to the laws of God. In the estimation of the world, riches are the basis of greatness, but in the eyes of God, poverty is the foundation of sanctity. It is not certain that the rich are damned, but the Redeemer has declared that it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. It was for our edification and instruction that Jesus Christ wished to live in continual poverty on earth. Hence Saint Mary Magdalene de Pazzi called poverty the spouse of Jesus. Poverty, says Saint Bernard, was not founded in heaven. It abounded on earth, but man did not know its value. Therefore the Son of God, longing after it, came down from heaven to choose it for himself and to make it precious to us. Being rich, says St. Paul, he became poor for your sakes, that through his poverty you might be rich. Our Redeemer was the Lord of all the riches in heaven and on earth, but he wished to be miserably poor in this life in order to enrich us and to excite us by his example to the love of poverty, which, by withdrawing our affections from temporal goods, procures for us eternal riches. He wished to be poor during this life. Poor in his birth, he was born not in a palace but in a cold stable, having only a manger for his cradle and straw for his bed. Poor in his life, and poor in all things, he dwelt in a miserable hut containing but a single room, which served for all the purposes of life. Poor in his garments and in his food. St. John Chrysostom says that the Redeemer and his disciples ate nothing but barley bread, and this may be inferred from the Gospel. Poor in fine in the death, leaving nothing behind him but his miserable garments, and these even before his death were divided among the soldiers. Thus, for his winding sheet and sepulchre, he depended on the bounty of the charitable. Hence Jesus once said to Blessed Angela of Foligno, "If poverty were not a great blessing, I should not have chosen it for myself, nor should I have left it as an inheritance to my elect." It was because they saw Jesus poor that the saints loved poverty so much. Father Granada and Father M. Avila discussed one day the reason why St. Francis of Assisi had such an affection for poverty. Father Louis of Granada maintained that it was because the saint wished to be freed from every impediment to a perfect union with God, but Father Avila asserted that, with more truth, the ardent love of St. Francis for holy poverty arose from his ardent love of Jesus Christ. And surely a soul that loves Jesus Christ intensely cannot but exclaim with the Apostle, I count all things as dung, that I may gain Christ. I esteem all the goods of the earth as dung, and therefore I despise them all, that I may gain Jesus Christ. Hence St. Francis de Sales used to say that when a house is on fire, the furniture is thrown out of the windows, and long before the Holy Ghost said, if a man should give all the substance of his house for love, he shall despise it as nothing. The ardent lover cheerfully despises all things through the love which he bears to God. From the sacred scriptures we learn that the reward of poverty is most certain, the great beyond measure. It is most certain because Jesus Christ has said, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. To the other Beatitudes, heaven is promised only as a future reward. Blessed are the meek, for they shall possess the land. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they shall see God. But to the poor in spirit, God's kingdom is promised as a present recompense, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Because to those that are truly poor in spirit, the Lord gives every great help, even in this life. Hence Cornelius a Lapide says that, since by the decree of God the kingdom of heaven belongs to the poor, they have a full right to it. The reward of poverty is very secure, and great beyond conception. The less we have here, said Saint Teresa, the more we shall enjoy in God's kingdom, in which the mansion of each is proportioned to the love with which he shall have imitated the life of Jesus Christ. O happy commerce, exclaimed St. Peter Damian, where clay is given away and gold received. O happy traffic, in which we renounce the goods of the earth, which are but mire, and receive in exchange the graces of God and eternal rewards, which are more precious than the purest gold. The poor in spirit shall also have the honor of sitting with Jesus Christ as the judges of the world. Behold, says St. Peter to Jesus, we have left all things, and have followed thee. What therefore shall we have? And Jesus said to them, Amen I say to you, that you who have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on the seat of his majesty, you shall also sit on 12 seats, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. God has promised eternal glory thereafter, and 100-fold in this life to all who abandon earthly goods for his sake. And every one that hath left house or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold, and shall possess life everlasting. This promise is fulfilled in all the poor in spirit, who, because they desire nothing on earth, possess all riches, as having nothing and possessing all things. The Redeemer has justly compared riches to thorns, for in proportion to their abundance, riches torment the soul by cares, by fears, and by desires of increased possessions. Hence St. Bernard says that while the avaricious, because their desire of riches is never satiated, like mendicants, thirst after the goods of this world, the poor in spirit, because they wish for nothing upon earth, despise mammon. The avaricious man, like a mendicant, hungers after earthly things. The poor man, like a lord, contempts them. Oh, how great is the happiness of a person who desires and possesses nothing upon earth. She enjoys true peace, a blessing more valuable than all worldly goods, which can never content a soul destined to be made happy only by the possession of God. Thus the poor in spirit receive a great reward in this as well as in the next life. But where shall we find a soul truly poor in spirit? Let us examine in what true poverty of spirit consists. Thus the poor in spirit receive a great reward in this as well as in the next life. And we will continue with a chapter from The Way of Salvation and Perfection by St. Alphonsus Liguori. This is chapter 38. Happy is he who desires nothing but God. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. By the poor in spirit is meant those who are poor in earthly desires and desire nothing but God. These are poor in desires, but not without affection, because they live contented even in this life, and therefore the Lord does not say, theirs will be the kingdom of heaven, but theirs is, because even in this life they are rich in spiritual blessings which they receive from God. And thus, however poor they are in temporal goods, they live content with their condition. They are different from the rich in earthly desires, who, in the present life, whatever riches they possess, are always poor and live discontented. For the good things of this life do not satisfy our thirst, however much they are increased. Wherefore, these persons are never contented, never attaining to the acquisition of what they desire. In order to enrich us with true riches, Jesus Christ chose to be a poor man, as the Apostle writes, "For your sakes he became poor, that by his poverty ye might become rich." He chose to be poor in order to teach us by his example to despise earthly blessings, and thus to enrich us with heavenly blessings, which are infinitely more precious and which last forever. Therefore, he declared that whoever did not renounce every species of attachment to this earth could not be his true disciple. Happy he who desires nothing but God and can say with Saint Paulinus, "Let the rich have their riches, kings their kingdoms, Christ is my wealth and my kingdom." Let us rest assured that God alone can content us, but he does not fully content any but those souls which love him with a whole heart. And what place can the love of God find in a heart that is full of this earth? Such people may go often to communion and pay visits to the Blessed Sacrament, but because this earth is in their hearts, God cannot wholly possess them and enrich them as he would. Many souls lament that their meditations and communions and in their other most devout exercises they do not find God. To such Saint Teresa said, "Detach thy heart from all creatures, and thou shalt find God." Let us strip ourselves of every affection that tends to earthly things, and especially of our own will. Let us give to God our whole will, without reserve, and say to him, "Lord, do thou dispose of me and all that I have as thou wilt. I desire nothing but what thou desirest, and I know that what thou wilt is the best for me. Grant me then that I may ever love thee, and desire nothing more." The only means for detaching ourselves from creatures is to acquire a great love for God. If the love of God does not go so far as to obtain the mastery over our own will, we shall never attain to being saints. The means for acquiring this ruling love is devout prayer. Let us constantly pray to God to give us his love, that we may thus find ourselves detached from every created thing. Divine love is a thief, which, in a holy way, robs us of all earthly affections and causes us to say, "What other thing do I desire but thee alone, O God of my heart?" Love is strong as death. This means that as there is no power that resisteth death, so there is nothing, even of things most invincible, that can resist the love of God. Love conquers everything. With the love of God, the martyrs conquered the fiercest torments and the most agonizing deaths. O happy indeed is he who can say with David, "What have I in heaven, and what have I desired upon earth, but thee, O God, of my heart, and my portion forever? What else can I desire in this life and in eternity, but thee alone, O my God? Let others find the good things they choose. Be thou, O God of my heart, my only good. Be thou all my peace." In what peril does the soul stand of losing God and perishing when it has not attained to the giving itself wholly to God, while he who is truly given himself altogether to God can rest secure of never leaving him, because the Lord is truly merciful and faithful to everyone who gives himself to him without reserve. But why is it that some persons who began by living a holy life afterwards fall so grievously that they leave us little hope of their salvation? Why indeed is this? I answer that they had not given themselves wholly to God, and this their fall is the proof of it. O my God and my true lover, suffer it not that my soul, which was created to love thee, should love anything apart from thee, and should not wholly belong to thee, who hast purchased me with thy blood. O my Jesus, how is it possible that after having known the love which thou hast borne me, I can love anything apart from thee? Draw me continually within thy heart, make me forget everything, that I may neither seek nor sigh after anything but thy love. O my Jesus, in thee I trust. O Mary, Mother of God, in thee is my hope. Detach me from the love of everything that is not of God, that he may be the one object of my affections and of my eternal happiness. I hope you enjoyed those 2 readings. I have heard it said that money can be, in a way, a god, because as many numbers as you put out, you can never have the end of a number. It's infinite. I remember hearing once a story that stuck with me of a soldier who, he didn't get paid a lot of money, but he had a family. And when he didn't have enough money, he would fast for a while. And then all the things he thought he needed, he realized he didn't really need all of them. And then all of a sudden he had enough money for it. I hope you found this interesting, although it's kind of all over the place. But St. Alphonsus Liguori will never let you down, right? Have a great Sunday, and thanks for listening to Miss Retro Reads.